self-esteem is a topic that affects people of all ages, which is why in Chapter 2 of my book, Choices for Teens, I've actually addressed self-esteem and how to raise yours. This is a concept that I borrowed from an author, Debbie Ford, who wrote the book, The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. So the next part of this video, I'm going to play you the audio clip of Chapter 2 of Choices for Teens, which will give you instruction on how to go about raising your self-esteem. Chapter 2, High on Yourself, Down on Yourself. What's it gonna be? Do you want to live a life loving yourself or hating yourself? Have counselors, parents, teachers, or friends ever told you you need to raise your self-esteem or not be so hard on yourself? If so, this is the chapter you need to pay extra special attention to. I will tell you how to raise your self-esteem, love yourself more, and increase your tolerance of others. Accepting all aspects of your personality. Self-esteem means accepting both the light and the dark sides of your personality. The dark side, sometimes called the shadow side, is the aspect of your personality that you reject as bad. The light side, in contrast, is the aspect of your personality that you like or consider good. Beliefs about there being good and bad parts to your personality have been around a long time. In fact, many of these beliefs we have simply accepted from others. They were passed on to us by our parents, friends, clergy, TV, radio, and other outside forces. The truth is that what we perceive to be good and bad parts of our personalities are actually all good and vitally important to who we really are. Let's consider the supposed dark side of our personality. You can usually recognize its characteristics by identifying what bothers you or what triggers you in others. This concept is called mirroring. When you see something in someone else that annoys you, it's usually an aspect of your own personality that you consider to be ugly or weak. Imagine an individual bothered by someone who exhibits traits of passivity or shyness. These traits are typically viewed as signs of weakness. If someone is acting scared or weak and this irritates you, then passivity is an aspect of your personality that you think is bad. It is a part of your dark side that you try to hide from the rest of the world. The problem with not accepting this part of your personality is that sometimes you need to call on this shy or passive part of yourself. Let's say, for example, someone starts getting up in your face and wants to start a fight. In this case, you may want to call on that non-aggressive side of your personality to talk yourself out of the situation and avoid the fight. Raising your self-esteem. So let me tell you in one simple sentence how to raise your self-esteem. Listen very carefully. You raise your self-esteem by recognizing, embracing, and ultimately loving all the aspects of your personality. People tend to repress the dark side of their personality because they think it's bad. However, it's possible to acknowledge and accept your so-called weakness and turn them into hidden strengths. In order to raise your self-esteem, using the example of passivity, you must first recognize the trigger. So notice your reaction. See that you are annoyed by another person's passivity. Secondly, turn it around. Remember how the same passive behavior has helped you in your own life, perhaps to avoid fights or avoid doing something stupid by, quote, chickening out. Third, embrace your passivity. Laugh about it, be proud of it, and accept it. When you accept it in yourself, you'll also accept it in others. This will make you much more tolerant of others. Repressing what you consider your undesirable personality traits will only cause them to become bottled up and emerge at an inappropriate moment. They are all good and can help you to become more yourself, a more complete person. Perhaps you need to get a little angry when you feel you're being taken advantage of. Perhaps it's okay to brag a little during a job interview. Or perhaps it's safe and even appropriate to be a little emotional at a funeral. These are proper expressions of your so-called dark traits. Remember too that these emotions are what makes us both human and interesting. Circle of control. Understanding clearly what it is you can and cannot control in your life will help you improve your self-esteem. It's senseless to beat yourself up for something that isn't even in your realm of control. Since I'm reading this book to you and you can't see the next graphic, I'd like you to picture a target with 3 rings. The outside ring says what affects me. The next ring going inside says what I influence. And the bullseye in the middle of the target says what I control. So let's talk about what affects me. Gravity, the weather, the price of goods, other people's choices and behavior. What I influence. Everything and everyone I come into contact with to varying degrees. And the bullseye, what I control. My thoughts, my feelings, and my actions. There are many things in your life over which you have no control. For example, the weather. You may be affected by the weather. A dark and rainy day may depress you, or a bright and sunny day may make you happy. But you only have control over your reaction to it. Perhaps you look outside and see the rain pouring down, forming mud puddles on the sidewalk. You say to yourself, "Oh man, where did I leave my umbrella? I'm going to look like a total jerk running for the bus stop, trying not to get wet and ruining my good hair day." We can, however, choose to turn those thoughts around and say, "Sweet! Where did I put my rubber boots and rain gear? I love the rain. I should have been born a duck." Nothing has changed about the situation except your thoughts and your attitude. How do you want to live your life? Being miserable or being happy? Remember, all you can control are your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. There are, however, many things in your life that you can and do influence. You can, of course, influence people and situations by expressing your opinion, by being a good role model, and by standing up for what you believe in. Friends influence each other. Because we enjoy being with them, we're more open to their ideas. Friends often influence what music we listen to, what movies we watch, and what social networking sites we join. However, you still don't have any real control over what others do. Remember, they may not take your advice or follow your ideas, and that's okay. You have no control over that. Be content with letting them know how you feel and then let it go at that. My advice is not to worry about how people react to your influence. When you try to influence someone else, or try to control a situation, pay special attention to the difference between influence and control. Think of the circles and what you can influence and control, and think and feel, and act accordingly. If you are thinking, "I wish this person would do this," Or, how can I make so-and-so do that? Then stop what you're doing. You do not have control to make another person do anything. Remember too that neither can anyone control you. Your decisions are yours and yours alone. So listen to the advice of people around you and make the best decisions you can for yourself. Handling criticism. Handling criticism or self-criticism can be extremely difficult for someone with low self-esteem. By self-criticism, I mean that voice inside your head that keeps sending you negative messages like, "You can't do that," or "That was a stupid thing to do." Don't panic. We all have that little voice, and it can be very annoying and counterproductive if we listen to it. Here's what to do when faced with criticism, whether from yourself or someone else. The first step is to question it. Ask yourself, is this true? The next step is to act on the information. If the criticism is true, you may want to change your behavior. If the criticism is not true, simply ignore it, because it shouldn't affect you. Move on and let it go. It is merely someone else's opinion. Say someone tells you that you're drinking too much. You must ask yourself honestly, is this true? Think about it without becoming defensive. Does your drinking cause problems at school, at work, at home, with your relationships, or with your health? If it's causing significant consequences in any of these areas, and you are still choosing to drink, then seek help and start making some changes. However, if you only have the odd social drink and rarely get drunk, then this is someone overreacting, and you should choose to ignore the criticism. If it isn't part of your reality and your truth, then it doesn't affect you. It's their issue. I'm going to squeeze in one more very important tip for keeping your self-esteem high, and that is to ask for help whenever you need it. If you find yourself getting frustrated, there's no shame in asking for help. It's foolish to sit and bang your head against the wall when there's lots of people happy to give you their advice or their opinion on something. Turn to someone you trust or call a helpline. Do whatever you need to do to keep yourself healthy and happy.